What is life like in Singapore? Know the pros and cons. On September 16, 1963, Singapore gained its independence, ending the 144 years of British rule on the island. After effects include high unemployment levels and horrendous working conditions. 2 years later, the country left the Federation of Malaysia after conflicts from political, economic, and racial disputes arose. Following independence, Singapore's newly elected government was committed to avoid the occurrence of those disasters. Due to this, Singapore's industrialization and economic expansion have been accelerated through visionary leadership and initiatives. The nation is the embodiment of a globalized metropolis, topping ranks of globalized countries based on factors including economic integration, technological connectivity, interpersonal contact, and political engagement. It was classified as the fifth most globalized nation in the world in the 2013 KOF Index of Globalization. Singapore has also consistently placed among the top 10 most globally integrated nations in many different rankings, including those from Ernst & Young's Globalization Index and Foreign Policy. Furthermore, the country has earned itself a reputation of being a financial hub of the Asia continent. It is taking a comprehensive look at elements such as public safety, mobility, governance, and health. The index examines cities' success in conserving green areas, enhancing current local institutions, and digitizing access to work, all while maintaining their residents' security. This has left the Singapore citizens at a great advantage as they benefit from various aspects such as health, safety, job opportunities, and inclusion. Healthy citizens and a quality healthcare define Singapore as a progressive nation. The prosperity of a city and its residents will ultimately depend on how its leaders influence the direction of healthcare. It is crucial to have a healthcare ecosystem that values lifelong learnings and innovation, fosters community development, and provides trustworthy specialized care. According to the Bloomberg Health Efficiency Index, which measures medical spending and life expectancy, Singapore had the world's most effective healthcare system as of 2020. Its government has actively intervened to ensure access and affordability through targeted subsidies and to eliminate unnecessary costs, while also placing a strong emphasis on individual responsibility for one's health. Through the use of a diversified finance system, Singapore has attained universal healthcare. MediShield Life, the nation's public statutory insurance program, pays for significant hospital care and some outpatient procedures. Patients are responsible for paying premiums, co-insurance, and any additional expenses, and then start using the MediShield account if the situation becomes severe enough for them to reach their deductible. Additionally, the Community Health Assist Scheme offers subsidies that can be utilized at private general practitioner, or GP, and dentistry clinics to people with lower to intermediate incomes. The program covers almost 1.2 million Singaporeans who receive discounted care at more than 1,000 GPs and 700 dental facilities. Singapore's public hospitals are more independent than similar government-run institutions in other nations, which promotes competition in the public market and, as a result, improves patient care by keeping costs down and service standards high. In 2016, their national health spending accounted for 4.47% of GDP. Between 2009 and 2016, the government's share of health spending increased from about 32 to 41% due to increased public subsidies, which are meant to help lower out-of-pocket costs. In turn, the out-of-pocket share of health spending decreased from 43 to 31%. The country also has high expectations for lifestyle. Rules and regulations were implemented to reduce the intake of alcohol and lessen the use of cigarettes. Singapore has fairly strong laws against smoking. Tobacco advertising and sales to minors are strictly prohibited, and smoking is not permitted in restaurants and places of entertainment, such as bars and nightclubs. Newspapers publish gruesome anti-smoking advertisements that use colorful images of deceased lung tissue. Singapore's efficient transportation improves the citizens' productivity. In a smart area, transportation greatly influences citizens' quality of life. The city's Land Transit Authority extended a trial program for autonomous vehicles, or AVs, to accommodate all of Western Singapore in late October. The authorities of the city have come to the conclusion that mobility must be planned so that it not only covers the final mile of a journey, but also enables everyone to take advantage of what the city has to offer in order to create a resilient workforce and citizenry. Meanwhile, Singapore residents greatly appreciate their transport system and how it has evolved over the last years. They are the most satisfied on 13 out of 15 aspects analyzed, both in terms of their transportation's current state and its changes as compared to residents globally. Availability, affordability, efficiency, convenience, and sustainability were the 5 key aspects used in the report. Elements of success. Urban transportation systems of 24 global cities to evaluate the transport systems of 24 cities. Singapore took first place for public transportation affordability and placed highly for both efficiency and safety. Additionally, the city received top marks for sustainability, boasting one of the safest and most environmentally sustainable public transportation networks. Safety is not an issue for Singapore. With continuously low crime rates, an open judicial system, and a dependable police force supported by vigilant residents, Singapore is recognized as one of the world's safest nations. The Economist's 2021 Safe Cities Index survey ranked Singapore as the 3rd safest nation in the world. Among 163 countries, Singapore comes in at number 11 on the Global Peace Index. Singapore has a fairly low crime rate. According to Statistica, there were 658 crimes committed per 100,000 people in that year. It has been established that poverty is a major contributing fact to why people run afoul of the law. The fact that Singaporean companies compensate their workers well deters employees from committing crimes. Since they make more than enough money to get by, they don't need to turn to illicit activities. They hardly ever have any financial incentive to commit crimes. Singapore is also known for having strong rules against crime, particularly its zero-tolerance approach to murder, drug-related offenses, and illegal firearm possession. These are punishable by death penalty. CCTV cameras have been erected all across Singapore, just as in any other nation. These cameras, however, serve only as tools for law enforcement. Because law enforcement is generally weak, it takes longer to solve crimes in the majority of nations. In Singapore, however, the number of CCTV cameras practically everywhere combined with strict law enforcement and dependable cops makes it simple for crooks to be apprehended as soon as possible. Inclusion and diversity. Singapore is a conglomeration of numerous cultures coexisting in one welcoming place because of its ethnic diversity, which includes Chinese, Malay, Indian, and a number of other ethnic groups. Plus, according to a 2014 Pew Research Center research, Singapore has the highest level of religious diversity in the entire world. In this city, people of different faiths coexist and even worship side by side. This open-mindedness is also reflected in national policy, like the government's encouragement of inclusion. They maintain harmony, peace, and security in a multiracial, multi-religious society through their legislative framework, which includes laws like the Maintenance of Religious Harmony Act, or MRHA, and Penal Code, as well as partnerships and interactions with various stakeholders and the community. Singapore also consistently placed a strong emphasis on communication in order to coexist. Even though the various groups were encouraged to maintain their own languages and cultural traditions, the use of English as a standard language of administration and instruction following Singapore's independence helped to unify all Singaporeans without favoring any one ethnic group. This made it possible for Singaporeans to establish a shared civic space where they could exchange stories, memories, and ideals and construct a real national identity. However, there are always two sides of a coin. Amidst all these benefits that this country has to offer, there are also disadvantages that lie behind this modern city. Accommodation in Singapore isn't ideal for all. Particularly, during the COVID-19 outbreak, rent in Singapore has increased dramatically. After increasing for 16 consecutive months, condo rents increased by 2.3 in April 2022. Year over year, however, rents were up to 15.1% from April 2021. Money.co.uk's cost of rent index revealed that 47.08% of Singaporeans' total monthly expenses go toward paying rent. Locals are relocating into residences that foreigners generally rent as they look for larger living spaces and as they wait for the development of new homes to be finished, even though they frequently work from home portion of the time. Foreigners entering the city-state, which reopened its borders to anyone who had completed their vaccinations in April, are also in high demand. Although it's difficult to estimate how much, some of the agents stated that some of that is due to people moving from Hong Kong. Because of the pandemic delays in building, supply is still limited. One factor contributing to Singapore's high cost of living is also the city's small state's land area, which results in a constant shortage of housing. This has only led to rising house costs, along with Singapore's recent population expansion. Demanding lifestyle in the country. The high accessibility of technology and information has contributed to Singaporeans' reputation for efficiency. As a cosmopolitan metropolis that is open to trade and globalization, some people may also work more flexible schedules than the typical 9-to-5 jobs. Singapore is the second most overworked city, ranking 32nd out of 40 cities to work-life balance. According to the 2019 survey by the software startup Kissy, the Instant Group, a workspace innovation company, dubbed the island nation the most overworked country in the Asia-Pacific area. Because according to the group's survey, Singaporeans put in an average of 45 hours per week of work. 73% of Singaporeans say they are displeased with the country's culture of excessive work, and 62% say they feel exhausted. Similar to this, in March 2022, the livelihood over life debate ratio increased to 3.3. Accordingly, there are 3 people who put their livelihood before their own life for every person who does the opposite. Given these pros and cons, do you think Singapore is an ideal place to live in? Let us know your thoughts! If you find this video helpful, consider leaving a like and subscribing to our channel. This has been HTL World. See you in our next video.